Hi everybody and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make your very own off-the-edge die cut card using Cricut Design Space. That's right, no expensive dies are necessary to create this look. We can make our very own file quite simply using Cricut Design Space. This tutorial will take you from start to finish, and you can use these words or any words that you prefer. Alright everybody, here we are at the home screen, and I'm going to start by clicking on New Project up here in the right hand corner. And I'm going to start by creating some text words. So we'll hit the text button right here on the left. It's going to open up this box, and I'm sorry that it puts it so low on my screen, but that's just where it defaults all the time. We'll move it up in a bit, but first I'm going to type the word thanks. Now that I've typed that, I can click off of it, click on the word again, and just drag it up. I'm also going to increase the close-up here to about 150%, just so it's a little bit more visible to you. Okay, so now what I want to do is change the font style. It defaults to Cricut Sans. All we need to do is click anywhere on this Cricut Sans word. Then I can go up here into search fonts, and I'm going to type Songbird. Songbird font is something that comes with Cricut Access, so you should have it if you've subscribed to that. And all you need to do then is click on the line that we want. It could have been any of these, but I want this particular version of the Songbird, and it's going to convert to that particular font. Now I'm going to change my font size. 72 is too small, so I'm going to type in 110. All right. Well, we're getting closer, but I need all of these letters to touch so that they will cut as one word. So I'm going to click on the whole thing again, and I'm going to use letter space. Press the down arrow key, and as you do that, it's going to start moving these letters together. So I'm going to just click it really fast here. And what's going to happen is I'm going to get those four middle letters to touch together pretty nicely as if they were written by script. The T and the S is not going to do that though. I'm going to have to move those two manually. But the bulk of the word here looks pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead now and I'm going to move this whole thing so that it is sitting on a line. And this way, when I move my letters around, I have a line to kind of guide me as to where it should be. Now I need to ungroup these letters, because right now if I move anything, it moves the whole word, not just a letter. Now what you need to do for this is ungroup. There's a couple different ways you can ungroup something. The first is to simply right click and hit the ungroup option. The other option, and by the way, you need to make sure that whatever it is you're ungrouping is selected like this. The second option to do it is to go up to the layers panels and hit ungroup. There you go. Now when you click on a letter, no matter what letter it is, it's a separate letter and you can move it. Now I'm going to move the T so that it's just barely touching, and I'm going to touch it right here. Now you can hit the shift when you're moving it. So hit shift first and then move it, and it's going to kind of make it stay. If you push it up or down, it will move, but it's going to want to make it like snap back to position. This will assure that your word is still going to be straightly aligned with the, or that the T will be straightly aligned with the other letters. So I've got it touching. That's all I need. Now I'm going to do the same with the S. I'm going to hit the shift while I'm moving it so that it will stay straight. And I'm going to line this up so that it's pretty much even on the top. All right. Now I can hit select all. There's another way to do that. You can just use your boundary box and draw one. You left click on your mouse and pull it over, or you can hit select all, either way. Alright, so now that I've got them all selected, I want to actually make this one word, and to do that I'm going to weld all these letters together. The weld function is on the layers panel over here to the right, but at the very bottom. See where it says weld? I'll click on that, and now this is one word all connected together. Really simple to do and can be quite effective for your cutting. All right, I'm going to start with the second word. I'll hit the text button. And this time I'm going to type in friend. And it's going to be in all lowercase letters. I'm going to move this up so you can see it. All right. And I'm going to change the font. I don't want Songbird anymore, so I'm going to type in instead Craft Room Basics. It's actually Cricut Craft Room Basics. And this is pretty much what I want. I have to change the font size to a smaller this time. I need a 55 font size instead of 72 as it's defaulting. And then I'm going to also move the letters a little bit closer together, not so that they're touching in this case, but just so they look a little more natural and not so spread apart. Something about like that. All right. Now I'm going to create the piece that I'm going to attach these words to. So I'm going to hit Shapes and hit the square. Now I need to change this square into a rectangle. And in order to do that, I have to unlock the proportions. Otherwise, when I try to change it, it's going to stay a square no matter what size I make it. To make it a rectangle there, then I need to unlock and set my width and height different. So there's two ways to unlock. You can hit the lock down here. I'll put it back on. Or you can hit the lock up here. And you'll see now, again, that lock is unlocked here. So either way that you feel comfortable, either way will work. Now I'm free to enter whatever dimension I want without affecting the other side of it. So I want this to spread across an A2 size horizontal card. So I need this to be 5.5 inches wide, and I want the whole thing to be 2 inches tall. So I've got myself a strip basically here of 5.5 by 2 inches. Now I'm going to take my thanks word and I'm going to bring it over here and I'm going to work it down just so it touches. Right here, something about like that. Kind of centered, but not exactly centered, pretty close. Now I'm going to take my boundary box and I'm going to right click here with my left button on my mouse and drag this box around my two images. So I've selected these two images together, and then I'm going to go down to the layers panel again and hit the option weld. And what this has done is now created a single image out of those two separate images. They are tied together and will cut out as one. Very handy option in Design Space. Now I'm going to take friend, and I'm pretty sure it's going to go underneath this, so I need to change the view of friend by hitting the right click button and choosing move or send to front actually. Now when I move it over, I can see it. It's on the top. And I'm going to place this about where I want it, just eyeballing it. I'm not caring about the exact dimensions too much, but that's how I want it to cut out. So I'm going to hit select all at this point because this is everything all together. And then I'm going to go down to the layers panel again on the right, and I'm going to hit this time the slice function. What this will do is much like a cookie cutter, it's going to cut that friend word out of that solid rectangle there. So let's hit slice. It looks like nothing has happened until you pull this away, and now you see that it has in fact cut out the word friend out of this solid box. And we end up with two layers of friends underneath. It's the top layer and then the word layer. So it doesn't get rid of any of those layers, it leaves them in place. But of course we don't want any of those, so I'm going to delete them out. And now we have my nice panel that I'm going to cut out for the front of my card. So my next step here is to hit the Make It button on the top, and it's going to show me how it looks on my mat. So at this point I can hit the Continue down here and then go ahead, lay out the paper and cut it. So we'll show that next. For my cut, I'm going to take a piece of paper from the 6 by 6 inch pad from Crate Paper called Bundled Up, and it's these cute little sleds. I'm placing it in the top left corner of my mat, and I'll go ahead and cut it. Alright, I'm back, and I'm going to start taking everything off the mat now. Now this mat was very, very, very sticky, and in fact even tore some of my paper, not on the cut portion, fortunately, that I wanted to keep, but on my leftover salvage pieces. So I'm pulling that apart, and you'll see it right there, but I'll just remove that. It's no harm, no foul at this point. Then I'll begin to pull off the main cut that I want to keep. And still at this point, it looks like a big old mess, and there's nothing there we really want to use. But you'll see the magic occur here just shortly. Be sure to use your spatula to release it so that there's no tearing or bending. And this will create your beautiful cut, and it's time now to create the card base. This card is an A2 sized red card base, which I created myself, and I'm going to run this through the Cuttlebug Divine Swirl embossing folder. Now this has a border on the side. It's pretty abrupt, and so I want it to fall right over the top of my score line where my card is going to be folded. That way you won't see that. And then I also want the embossing to be fairly centered between the right and the left side so that it looks even to the eye. Now the bottom here is not going to get embossed, but that's okay because my cutout here is going to go over the top and cover that up, so it's not a big deal. So I'm going to run this through the Cuttlebug and I'll be back. Okay, I've just finished running it through. Let's take a look at it. You can see now when I fold my card, that embossing goes right to the edge, which is perfect. And it's fairly centered from the right and left side. Now I'm going to bring the cutout that I made earlier, and I'm going to prepare it to go on this card base. So here it is again, and you can see it perfectly fits this A2 size card. Now I'm going to make it so that the friend part is going to actually have a different color, and I'm going to put in some lime green glitter paper. This is going to make it stand out a little bit more, and also it will make that back solid so that I can lift the whole piece up with double-sided foam tape, which is what I want to do in order to give it a bit more dimension and depth. So to prepare this, I just used a piece of my leftover cardstock that I had in my scraps, and I'm going to use my Zig two-way glue. In this case, it's got a nice wide nib on it, and I can easily go over this cutout and get all the little pieces behind the letters. Then I could just apply my glitter cardstock on top of that, press it down, give it a little bit of time to set, and keep pressing. Takes about maybe 15-20 seconds, and then I'm ready to put in the little pieces that are missing when I cut out my initial piece. So it's the dot that goes in between or in the middle of the D, and then I'm also going to put in the little slice in the E, and that way it looks like a complete word. Now some people would leave these without the little pieces put back in, but I personally like to have them. My eye just appreciates that a little better. Now I've applied some double-sided foam tape across the back of this piece. I did not put anything under the thanks. I don't really think it's necessary, and it will keep it simpler too. So I'm going to go ahead and apply that at the bottom, aligning everything up, and it looks very nice. I like that. Now to finish this up, I'm not ready to give up my green and red and white colors for Christmas because this is a thank you Christmas card after all. So I'm going to go ahead and use that twine one more time this season, and I'm going to wrap that twine 3 times around the front of the card, just the front flap. And I wanted to slow down here a second and show you how I overlapped the ends of the twine, then put the one end underneath all 3 pieces of the twine before finally tying just a simple knot over the top of that. So I will do that and pull it tight, and then we'll make it look nice by separating those 3 pieces of twine out just a bit. And I think also tying it to the left of the word friend kind of balances the whole card out and really makes it look finished. Now all I need to do is trim the ends of the twine to the length that would be appropriate for the card, and I've finished it. It's a very simple and easy card to make, and it's perfect to send to all your friends and family who gave you wonderful Christmas gifts this year. Well, that concludes the tutorial for the word card using Cricut Design Space. Well, once again, thank you for joining me here today. I really appreciate you visiting, and I've put up here the link to subscribe to my channel and also to a couple more videos that I think you might be interested in seeing if you like this one. So I hope to see you back soon, but until then, keep crafting. Bye!